In this part, we are going to talk about the trigonometric transformations. In general, a function in this form, sine or cosine, it doesn't matter, a sine bx minus c plus d, we want to see what changes it makes on the original graph. If we want to see when we draw the sine how much the amplitude, that is this distance, becomes, we take the absolute value of the coefficient of sine because the wavelength is positive. If this function is in terms of cosine, we do the same procedure. If the coefficient is negative, what happens? For that too, we take the absolute value. That means the wavelength is 3. We want to examine one full cycle, meaning a complete rotation, and see how it is. That is, when we move one full turn on the unit circle, how the graph looks. One complete trigonometric cycle is equal to 2 pi divided by the absolute value of the coefficient of x. Because we want to consider the cycle from the positive side, we must put the coefficient of x inside the absolute value. For example, if the expression is y equals sine of 2x, for one full cycle we reach the number pi. Before, when we moved one full turn on the unit circle, the graph rotated from 0 to 2 pi. Now this happens at half the previous number. That means whatever the coefficient of x is, it makes the rotation number act in reverse and get divided by the number. The coefficients of x act in reverse and they are always kind of troublesome. And if we want to see how much the function moves forward or backward, we use the number c, because the number c pushes the function forward or backward. In fact, it is a transformation. A gives vertical stretch. B gives compression or expansion. C gives horizontal shift and D gives vertical shift. So, D is vertical shift, C is horizontal shift, B is horizontal stretch, and A is vertical stretch. So, our graph shifts by the amount of C over B, or it is pushed forward or backward. If C is a positive number, the graph moves to the right, and if C is a negative number, the graph moves to the left. That means if we have y equal sine x minus pi over 4, and we compare C with the formula y equal sine x minus c, then here c is equal to pi over 4. It will be a positive number. So it is pushed forward by the amount of pi over 4. If we consider the original sine graph in one full cycle, which looked like this, now it is shifted forward by pi over 4. That is along the x-axis, pushed forward by pi over 4. But what about d? The graph moves up or down by the amount of d. Of course, the coefficients a and d behave nicely. That means if d is positive, the graph moves upward. And if d is negative, the graph moves downward. Now let's go over a few examples together. When we say y equals 4 sine x, in fact, the amplitude or the height of the wave is 4. That means the wave's height is equal to 4. When we say y equals negative sine x, it is the same idea. That means if we draw the original sine graph like this, then negative sign becomes like this. But still, the height of this wave is 1, or the amplitude is 1. If we have y equals cosine of 2x, then one full cycle will be equal to pi. Notice that if it is sine or cosine, the period is 2 pi over the absolute value of the coefficient of x. If it is tangent, the period is pi over the absolute value of the coefficient of x. We had already studied the graph of tangent, so the period is pi divided by the absolute value of the coefficient of x, which now is 1/3. So the answer will be 3 pi. In the next example, how much is the graph shifted forward or backward? Well, in this graph, c is positive, so it goes pi over 4 to the right. If it is cosine plus pi over 6, that means it was minus negative pi over 6. So it is pushed pi over 6 to the left. In general, the coefficient inside the parentheses act in reverse, and overall they are kind of troublesome. Well, what happens if sine is added with a number? For example, plus 2 means the graph moves upward by 2. And if it is minus 1, the graph moves downward by 1. Up next, I will share a game link based on these topics. Be sure to practice and enjoy trigonometry and mathematics.